Thanks, John. And yeah, as John mentioned, my name's Kyle. I'm the administrator and project manager that helps build all of the technology that you're going to see. Steve Stout has also joined. He's going to be the one that when you get something from the FFP intake coordinator, that's going to be Steve. So I might throw to him for a few questions regarding, kind of protocols and expectations once cases are assigned to you. But really, the main focus of today is to kind of get you onboarded to the CAN, the Coordinated Assistance Network, and then just take you through the basics. Of course, we're always here for support and help and all that. But first things first, you need your accounts made. So I want to give you a little bit more background on what the Coordinated Assistance Network is, since you are going to be registering for an account. I think it's important that you're comfortable kind of with the platform and who we are and why we exist. And you should be viewing my screen now. We are .org. You can see it there. CanPortal.org is our website, and you can feel free to poke around our public-facing brochure site. It'll explain to you kind of more in depth of what I'm about to go over at like a 30,000 foot level. But essentially, what we decided was, as a nonprofit that does focus on financial education, which is another branch of what we do, not in the CFP realm, but have been, as Rachel and John both mentioned, working with military and veteran families, spouses, dependents, survivors, caregivers, you name it, for many, many years, over 10 years, providing pro bono financial education. And all of our counselors were veterans or military spouses, so there's a lot of good rapport there, a lot of good lingo. But what we found out was that we didn't really have a platform that met all of our needs. You're using a free version of Salesforce, which is awesome that Salesforce does that, right? Provides free licenses to nonprofits. But the problem is you're not going to get all the fields you need to apply for the grants that you're seeking and the funding you're looking for, especially when you're dealing with the military and veteran community, because you need to know things like branch of service. What was your conflict era? Are you a Vietnam era veteran, post 9/11 veteran? Those types of forks in the road are very important for nonprofits to not only be able to capture that data, but qualify those that they're assisting, because their funding might be specifically for female Air Force veterans between a certain age who live in certain states and, are, served at a certain time, right? Or they're post 9/11 veterans, something like that. So it's very important that nonprofits have the tools they need. A lot of them don't have a ton of budget for technology. So basically we built this for ourselves and then took it to our funders and said, if you give us more money, we can build modules for all the different types of nonprofits that are out there, and not just for military and veteran community, but for all civilians as well, everybody. That way, if I'm an organization that does, employment assistance, whether it's new jobs or simply interview prep or resume writing, those nonprofits can do their job, capture their data and all that. So that's why we are what we are, is we wanted to build kind of the CRM tool or the platform or the Salesforce version, if you will, of nonprofit needs by nonprofits for nonprofits. And if you go into any industry nowadays, everybody sort of pivoted from the old school, hey, this is the old war horse, right? And Salesforce is great for what it is. But at the end of the day, it really isn't very collaborative. It's not secure. And it's only as good as the data entry that you're doing. And we kind of want to take that out of it if we could. So I think we've built a good mousetrap here for folks to use. And I also want to point out how we are funded, because I have to shout out, the people that are paying our bills. Prudential and MetLife Foundation, we are primarily funded through corporate giving and corporate grants. Prudential and MetLife Foundation are the largest folks that kind of donate to us. Well, not donate, we do something for their money, obviously, but they pay for all the development. So when we want to build something new, when someone comes to us, a user, and says, hey, this is a B+ or an A-, but it would be an A+ if I could do video chat, for example. We go to MetLife and Prudential and say, hey, we want to onboard or white label a video chat suite, just like we're using Zoom here, but we need money to do that, right? There's costs associated there. And they've always been very generous. They've committed to funding us long term. Also next to them, you'll see NTT Managed Services. They are one of the largest, if not the largest in the world, provider of server space, cloud bandwidth, whatever you need to kind of house and maintain your site and grow and scale. NTT can do that. Now, that's usually very expensive. But NTT has given us free server space, cloud bandwidth, anything we need from a support perspective, not related to the development of the technology and the writing of the code and all that software engineer stuff. They provide that in perpetuity at no charge to us. So at last count, I think we would be at about a $30,000 a month bill. NTT does not bat an eye when we say, hey, you know what, we're noticed our page load times are lagging a bit because we've onboarded so many new users. Can you give us another rack of server space to help us with that? And they will do that, stand it up in about a week. So NTT is awesome, because even if Prudential and MetLife say, hey, this thing's perfect, we've been proud to be a part of it, and we lose funding to develop new technology and new functionality within the CAN, NTT makes sure that our data will live on, our users will be able to continue to use it, and make sure that it's performing at a high level, even if we can't build anything new. So really generous people over there at NTT, and can't say enough good things about them. They were also, NTT, that is, very instrumental in us receiving our HIPAA compliance certification, which you can see down here in our footer. We're very proud of that, because one, it's tough to do. It's about a 6-month process to get it initially done. We're just finishing up our annual audit for 2023 now, but there was a lot of high level and very technical, weird, smarter than me people that needed to do audits on NTT's side. And I'm sure that took time out of their day, and, they were being paid to do something that wasn't that. So again, huge ups to NTT for helping us achieve that. And I also shout that out because I always like to mention security. Everything we do inside the CAN is protected as though it was personal health information. So as you're talking to somebody about their finances, they might share a bank statement with you. When we're dealing with the military and veteran community and qualifying those folks, we're looking at things like DD-214s, which has your social security number, as well as all your military service awards, injuries, all those things. Disability paperwork, we get into the HIPAA waters like personal health information, but because we are a nonprofit also, we don't really feel like we want to mine that data and sell lists of people to be marketed to from our roster of assistance seekers. So we protect everything from their phone number to their first name, last name, address, gender identity, all those things. We protect that with the same amount of security that we would protect their disability paperwork, or somebody that says, hey, I have PTSD or whatever it is. We protect all of that data very intensely. So as you work inside the CAN, I want you to do that with confidence and know that everything is protected until you choose to pull it out. And even when you do, there's going to be a bunch of pop-ups that are, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're going to be responsible for that, the security of this information, if you pull it out of the CAN. So as you're communicating and working inside your account, just know that you are covered, and we got you. Speaking of that, how do I create an account? You might be thinking. Well, you'll come to canportal.org. You'll go to the supply section. You'll see one here that says counselors and CFPs. You'll click on that. And down here is a submit now button. So you're going to sign up. And it's a very simple form. We're going to get your name, and you're going to set a password. Make sure you're using like a work email address here. I'm going to explain why as we get deeper into this, but use a valid email address. Set up your account just as it says here, right? I'm not going to go field by field. The important ones, in my opinion, well, I like the veteran one, because it'll allow you to say, well, I'm an Army veteran too. That way, when we're kind of slicing and dicing and decide where enrollments are going to be assigned, we try to use your profile information in order to get you somebody that's, in your time zone. Yes, around your same age, hopefully. If you're both Army veterans, even better. If you're both military spouses, that's cool, right? We want you to, again, have that kind of instant rapport, so you have something to kind of build that relationship with right away. You might find out that you were stationed in the same areas at some of the same time, and maybe even know some of the same people. And hey, we all, as far as camaraderie goes, veterans are about the best group in the world at it. So hopefully you fill this out, completely. The main pieces of this that you have to get beyond, obviously, the information being correct, is when you get to this last field about what type of counseling you provide, you must check the box for CFP. Now, if you are also, maybe you're a certified benefits counselor. I heard somebody talking about working for Ziders in the past. If you are accredited and certified in another area of counseling, feel free to check those boxes as well, but make sure you are checking the box for certified financial planner. When you do, you'll see CFP board ID number field will pop up. This is your 6-digit board ID, I guess. This is going to help Rachel kind of vet you. Now, y'all are known to FFP already, but for those CFPs that see this and think, hey, maybe I want to be a part of this program too, once we're through the pilot phase, it'll be very helpful for Rachel to verify that they are in fact a certified financial planner, not just somebody that's like, yeah, I know about money and investing and how to budget and things. So please make sure you check that box and add your board number. And then also this box down here, I have been accredited by or am affiliated with. Make sure you're checking that box for Foundation for Financial Planning. That's the thing that's going to nudge Rachel to kind of again, not only vet you, but say, yep, I know who this person is and they are part of this program, right? So those are the two main ones on your profile. When you do that, when you submit that, it's going to pop you right onto your screen. There won't be like a welcome email with, okay, set your password. You've already done that, right? You've done that up here. So as soon as you click submit, it's going to tell you, hey, you're in your account now. And then it's also going to send you a welcome email to whatever email address you put up here, where you're going to receive an attached PDF as part of that welcome email. And it's going to go over a lot of what I'm going over here. And you'll see there's screenshots with things saying, so if you're not taking vigorous notes, you kind of forget, oh, where did he say to go once I'm in there? You can always refer to this PDF and it will walk you through these next steps that we're about to see. So just want to make that clear. PDF is there for your help. So let me pop into one of my test accounts so we don't have to watch me register one. And bear with me while I do this.
Kyle,
Yes.
you mentioned why it was important to use a certain email address, and I'm not sure you returned back to that.
Yeah, well, the reason is you might want to create a test account as a test client, just so you can kind of role play both sides of that. And I would encourage everybody to create that account as well, because there's some neat stuff in there for you to use. There's a document section where you can upload all your, a copy of your passport and a copy of your driver's license, any secure documents you want to store can go there. And you might find some neat stuff. But the reason I say that is if you do want to do that, it will help you as you're, counseling your clients, because they might ask you, well, how do I do this? And then you'll already know, well, you go here and you click that, and then it will share that document. So we'll get to that kind of at the end. So, and that's a weird thing. It's not really that weird, but that's something that we do.
But also if you have like 2 personal accounts, you can also do that. I think he was just making the distinction.
Oh yeah, right. You can use a personal account if you if you have a Gmail and a Yahoo, you can just use one for each. It just can't be both for both types of accounts. We don't allow you to have multiple accounts under one email address. So you'll have to pick one address for your counselor account and one address for your client account if you choose to set that up. So here's what it's going to look like when you pop in. If you've uploaded a photo, it will show your face and it'll say, welcome, Kyle Test Counselor is this guy's name. Now at the top here of my dashboard, you won't have anything in the graphs because you don't have any cases yet. And you won't have all these names up here. This is a test account that I use. And Steve and I do a lot of back and forth when we're troubleshooting some bugs here and there once in a while. So at first, this will all be blank. You won't see all these names of organizations in your header here. It'll just be blank. What you need to do is go to Browse Opportunities. You can get that either in the left-hand nav pane or there's a big button on the dashboard here. So you'll go to Browse Opportunities and you'll see right at the top here is the Foundation for Financial Planning. This is the one you want to apply to. So you'll come here and you'll click that apply button. What'll happen at that point is Steve will get a note that says, hey, so-and-so has applied to this opportunity. He'll verify that you are, one of the pilot users. He will engage you. And then the next time you log in, and you'll be kept abreast of all this too. We'll send you messages and say, hey, Steve's, accepted your application basically. But we all know you all are going to be accepted. So when that happens, that's when you'll see all, and you'll see Foundation for Financial Planning at the top here. And you'll be able to click on Foundation for Financial Planning and you'll see your cases. Now, again, you won't have any just yet, right? But as we get one, you'll see that'll start to populate. So as you log in, just, go to Browse, apply to the financial planning thing and stop. You may also notice you're going to get a little validated badge after a few hours. That's going to be when Rachel sees the thumbs up. So at first you won't have this little validated badge under your name, but once she does that, you'll see that pop up. So when you see that, you'll be like, oh, Rachel said I was good and Steve accepted my apply, but when I click the apply button, so that's when you'll get Foundation for Financial Planning at the top and your little validated badge right there. In the meantime, while you're kind of waiting for that to happen, and that'll all happen, again, usually same day, if not, first thing the next day, depending on what time it is. What time zone you're in and all that. But while you're waiting for all those things to kind of pop in after you complete the application piece, please go to your My Certifications and Documents section right under the profile. And you'll see there is a CAN HIPAA compliance agreement here. There's a little link that says sign it. You'll click sign and it'll take you through the DocuSign process. All this is just basically you saying, I'm going to use the CAN in a responsible way. You can read it if you want to, but basically it's just going to say, look, if you accidentally share, you know, basically if you breach HIPAA compliance guidelines, just let us know so that we can put that and rectify it. I don't anticipate that being an issue, but it is something that we're asking you just to sign proactively and say, hey, I'm going to be responsible in here. I'm not going to use this for any nefarious activities. I'm not going to try to sell anybody anything, kind of thing like that. So I think that's that. Steve will also send you kind of the rules of engagement. Once he assigns you a case, he'll assign you another thing that you need to click and sign, but I'll show you where that's going to live. I don't have that set up for this guy. At least I don't think I do. But I'll show you where that lives. From there, you're just going to sit back and wait to be notified that you've received a case. So once Steve assigns you a case, and I've got one here, Chris Latest is my test case name, and you don't need to worry about what I'm showing you here. This is just the action Steve's going to take when he has a new enrollment. But I already know that I'm going to add this to me. So I'm going to say, all right, Kyle, test counselor gets this one. He might write you a note in there. He might not, you know, he might say, hey, this person has indicated that they've, you know, would like to be called in the evening or something like that. You'll see that also. You can see that best time to reach, but Steve may write you a note, he may not. But when he assigns it, you're going to get an email. That's not an email that you can opt out of. You'll receive a CAN message and an email that says you've been assigned a new case by the FFP intake coordinator. Again, that is Steve Stout, and it's waiting for you in your file management. So that's when you'll be prompted to log back in. Again, you'll be logged in on your dashboard. And when you click Foundation for Financial Planning this time, we'll see we have one file and it's in the sent status, right? So as you get more files, you might have, you know, 5, 10, whatever it is, you'll see those in the various statuses. So you'll know where you're at. What you'll do is you'll come to file management and you'll see, there he is, Chris Latest. He's been sent for Foundation for Financial Planning, FFP admin. So I know who that is, and I'm going to open it by clicking on his name. And I see now I have a little offshoot. This is mine. The second one, the top line is for Steve. That's where Steve's going to knock his statuses down. And the bottom, this offshoot, this is you. This is where your lamps are going to light as you change statuses. So the first thing you should do is, yes, review this information up here, but you can actually kind of breeze past this top portion and go right down here to the file details. This is where you're going to learn everything about this person before you reach out for the first time. We see the request info. He's looking for basic budgeting advice. He's semi-retired and would like some advice, has a small portfolio, but would like to make some higher risk rewards, yada, yada, yada. So, all right, we know what he's looking for. We know he would prefer to be emailed in the afternoon. They might say, hey, call me anytime in the evening. But, you know, try to heed that if you can, what their preference is. But we are asking, and this is in that same PDF document, that you make 3 earnest attempts to contact that person. Email, phone call with a message, you know, text, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever they've asked to be, best time, best preferred contact method. If you email them and don't hear back, maybe you do make a phone call and say, hey, you know, I've sent you some emails. You're assigned CFP. I'd love to set a time to meet with you. But this is going to tell you what they're looking for. This is going to tell you their applicant info. Hey, where do they live? Well, how old are they? What, you know, are they married or not? What are their preferred pronouns? Do they have disabilities? If yes, what type of disability is it? You know, all this information here is good for you to have kind of on background on this person, so you know who you're going to be talking to, right? So you might say, "Whoa, he lives in Michigan. I'm going to look where that is," and be like, "Oh, I have an uncle that lives in that area." You know, you can talk about that kind of thing. I don't need to tell you guys how to do your job, but from a sales standpoint, that's the kind of stuff that I would do. Right? I'd get in there, see if I know this person. If they are a veteran, which most of our folks are going to be, some will be military spouses or dependents, but for the most part, you're going to see the military info on these folks as well. Okay, he was an active duty Army person. He didn't put his rank in here, so we don't know if he's an officer or not. Some folks are going to complete all of their profile information, some are not. But the data points that FFP is looking for will always be answered. You don't need to extract any information than what's on here. Some will have more than what is asked for, but no one will have less. When they come through, we have dialed in the form to be exactly the data points that we're looking for and care about. So, you know, we see he's got an honorable discharge, but he didn't put a separation date in there. Some will have it, some will not. We're mostly interested in that kind of stuff. So don't worry so much about this. Again, this is just for you to understand who this person is. If they mention that they were, yeah, I was a captain in the Army, and that's 03. If you want to edit that for them, you just click the edit button and you can add them, you can say boom and update it, and it will save on both sides, yours and theirs. The only things you cannot edit in this section is anything related to personal health information. So you're not going to be able, you notice when I hit edit, we see our disability fields are locked up. Only they can edit that. And then on the applicant info side, you can't edit the email address. So just know that. We did have that come up. Somebody said, hey, I put this person, they put the wrong email address in and I need to change it. If that happens, just email me, Kyle@canportal.org, and say, hey, I've got an applicant or an enroll or a client. It says, gmac.com instead of gmail.com or something like that. They fat fingered it. I can fix that for you at the admin level. And again, because you all are known to us, I'm not going to dig too hard on that. If it was somebody I didn't know, I might be like, well, I can't just have you changing email addresses, but we'll do that for you if need be. I don't think that's going to probably come up again. It might, but again, if it's something that you can't change for them, just let me know and I'll change it. But what you should do is you should take a cruise through this and again, get familiar with these folks. There's also a few tabs down, one that says additional questions. So these are the questions that we have made for specifically this program. How did you hear about this? And this has been changed. This is an old one, Rachel, so it doesn't say DePaulo Veterans Plus anymore. It now says Foundation for Financial Planning. But we're gonna, hey, how did you hear about the program? And do you have any of the following? So this is gonna say, edit answer. Yeah. Anyway, you might see more than just 401k listed here. I think we have 9 or 10 things in terms of, do you have any of the following? Do you have a savings account? Do you have 401k? Do you have, current stocks and bonds? All these things. But again, just to familiarize you with who these folks are. The other thing is, once you're comfortable with this person, you're like, okay, I've read all their info, I'm ready to reach out. The next thing you should do is go to status and approval and just change the status to accepted with the drop down here. So you change it to accepted, you click submit. You can write a message to the applicant if you like here, because they're gonna see that my CFP has changed my status from sent to accepted. So you could say, hey, I'm gonna be your CFP. I see that you're interested in learning about some higher risk, higher reward investment strategies. Here's my number if you want to give them your number, or you can say, hey, I'm going to send you a calendar invite and, or my calendar, and you can pick a time to meet, however you want to engage them. You don't have to write anything here, and they'll still get the, hey, they changed it from sent to accepted. This lets them know, hey, my counselor, my CFP has seen this and they've accepted it. They know that I'm waiting for them to reach out. And from there, you'll do the 3 reach outs. As you do that, make sure that you're continuing to keep your status updated. So if you make contact with them on the phone and you guys set a time to meet next week, that's fine. Just make sure you come in here and change this then to contacted and click submit. So this contacted lamp will light. This is what, Steve is the assigner and what Rachel's tracking, because she can see the statuses as well. If we see something sitting there for a long period of time, someone might reach out and say, hey, what's the deal? I've assigned you 3 cases, you haven't done anything. Where you may have 2 people in counseling right now and you've got a 3rd schedule, but we don't know that because you didn't light the lamp. So make sure you are changing the counseling status as you go, just to keep us in the loop and we see where you're at with the cases you're being assigned. Again, just from a command and control standpoint, it helps us out very much. And, it's also outlined in the PDF that you're going to get. So please make sure you're doing that all the way to complete it, right? So when you're done with that person, go ahead and complete them. I mentioned as you're reaching out to these folks and attempting to make contact, please add a note that just explains that, called and left voicemail Monday at 8 p.m. Just something very simple like that. You don't have to, you can flag it as important if you like. Your notes are never seen. Your notes are never seen by the people that you are assisting. You can't even accidentally share it with them. They are seen by the intake coordinator, so Steve can review those. So that's another way. If he sees something sitting in sent status, he's probably going to look and read your notes and see, well, have you been trying to contact that person? And if he sees that, then he's going to know, oh, they've already done 3 contact attempts. Maybe this person has gone dark on us or no longer wants, the assistance or whatever it is. So as you're doing your reach outs, please just make your notes. And again, change the status as you do it. Once you do set the session and start to counsel those folks, there's some neat things you can do. The first thing you can do is you can come in here and there might be something for you to sign in here. In fact, that's one thing I forgot. Go to documents and there will be something that's like, the FFP kind of code of conduct that's going to say, you aren't going to attempt to sell them anything. You understand that you're just giving advice. This is not, they can't come back and say, well, you told me that if I did this, then I'd be rich, and I'm not rich. So you did something wrong. We're also having them sign something on the front end that is equal, that says they understand those terms as well. And I'm probably doing a bad job of explaining what it is, but I think y'all will understand when you see that. So just go to the documents tab here. And if you see that with the little pencil by it, click the pencil and, just agree to that, the terms there for each case. But also the other thing you can do here is if you need to see documents from your person, if they mention, hey, I've got this 401k statement, I don't even know how to read it. You can say, well, if you're comfortable, upload that to the secure portal on your side, share it with me. And when they do that, it's only shared with you because they'll pick you from a drop down. They'll say, share it with CFP Jones, and they'll share it and it will pop up here. But you can also request that they show you something. So if you're like, hey, I'd like to see a copy of your current budget and a bank statement. When I click submit, what happens is this nudges my applicant, my client will get this and say, your CFP has asked you to share these documents. They can upload, share them with you, then you can see and review them. And this door swings both ways. The other thing you can do is you can upload documents. So if you've got like a takeaway sheet that you like to give people, that's just like, hey, here's some basic stuff. Like this is what we went over. This is kind of what I do. You can certainly share that with your people. You just upload it here. And then you click the share icon, share this with the applicant. Yes, I do. And then they'll be able to see it on their side. So rather than email things around or, mail them something in the snail mail, upload it here and go ahead and share it with them. If you've got something you share with everyone, you can do that in the main document section here, and it will populate this tab. So you don't have to upload it every time, but it's really up to you. And, some of you aren't even going to do this at all. So that's why I'm kind of breezing past it. If you want some further instruction on this, you can click here to see in action. And a lot of our tutorials here are you'll see this one's only 33 seconds long. So we don't do 9-minute tutorial videos on things. We try to keep it, below 60 seconds. So, if ever you see that click here to see in action, know that when you click it, it's going to be 30 to 60 seconds where it's going to tell you what the functionality is, why you should care about it, and how you use it. Done. We think you're probably smart enough to figure it out beyond there. We don't need to walk all the dogs, but it's got screenshots and highlights, and it's going to be very clear. Other things that you can do is the counseling assessment and calculators. So if someone, you'll see we have add assessment and financial calculators here. We do have about 15 financial calculators. So let's say you want to explain to somebody why they should care about a 401k, right? You can put the information in the form, click calculate. I'm not going to do it here, but it'll spit out a graph. It will spit out a table that will show, hey, your contributions and your employer contributions, and here's what it should be with an average rate of return in 20 years. You guys understand how to use these calculators better than I do. Your clients also have the same bank of calculators in the reference library. So if they, when you're kind of closing out with them, you can say, hey, there's a lot of neat self-help stuff in the CAN, including this reference library. So if you want to run these other calculators, that's cool. Each one has a video. It's about 2 to 3 minutes long because there's a little bit more to explain. But if I click this, it'll open up. You'll see this one's for 1 minute and 46 seconds. And it takes you nicely. It's got, our buddy Joe here explaining it. He's a CFP also, very smart guy. And it'll take you through the fields, and it will explain each field and why you should care about it, and what does it mean to be, the rate of return, what's conservative versus not. So they can watch these, you can do it with them. When you do this and save it, it will populate back here. It'll reload you to your file management tab here, and it would be there to show. Might use those calculators, might not, but one thing we are strongly encouraging you to do is to do a financial assessment. So you'll click add assessment. It's the top one here. And again, you could be on a screen share with these folks and going through it with them and saying, all right, so in your savings account, you've got $30,000. Great. In your checking account, you've got, you know, 3,000. And then in a wall safe, you've got cash reserves of $1,500. And you'll see, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. You all know how to use kind of stuff like this, I assume. You know, you can go into any real estate they may own, personal property of value kind of thing, any investments they have, current 401ks or bonds or annuities, whatever they are. Then you get into the incomes. And again, if you need to add incomes, so maybe I'm making, you know, $5,000 a month in tips, wages, and salaries, but I'm also getting better veterans benefits at $800 a month because maybe I'm 40%, you know, service connected, and you'll see those subtotals pop up. So you can add as many of these as you need. Maybe, you know, maybe they're also receiving some child support, you know, and that's $400 a month or something. Just very easy is what I'm getting at. You can add additional info if you want, you know, and then we're going to get into expenses and fixed and variable expenses and all that. A lot of times this is where they kind of don't realize there's certain things that we all just buy without really budgeting for, you know, especially kind of your you know, everybody's going to pay their food, water, and cable bill, but they maybe don't understand that they're paying too much to take care of their pets. You know, it's like, wow, you've got 3 dogs and you take them all to the high society groomer, and that's costing you $400 a month. Why don't you wash them at home with an $8 bottle of shampoo, and you just saved, you know, whatever the difference is, right? That kind of stuff. There's a lot of teaching opportunity in here. A lot of people just buy the tobacco when they're out of cigarettes. A lot of people just go buy beer when they're out of beer, right? They don't understand that, like, okay, you're buying an 18 pack every week. That's, you know, $20. So that's $80. Maybe you need to cut back on that a little bit. Not trying to tell anybody how to live, just saying, hey, this is where the devil lives in those details, right? It's going to spit out this nice summary where these are teachable moments as well. A lot of folks don't understand net worth and what all goes into that. That's a good opportunity for you to explain that to them. Same thing with like a debt to income ratio. That's a good way to explain what that is, what's a good one, what's average, and all that. It's also going to give you a good look at their monthly net, right? So like right now, because I didn't put any liabilities or expenses in, you got a pretty good monthly net here. But if this number is red and it's minus 300, there's probably some changes they can make in their variable expenses, or maybe even some of their fixed expenses, where you could kind of guide them and show them, hey, here's where you can get this from a red number to a black number, right? Another way you can kind of visually show them that is if you say add projections. Let me just grab a few and put them in here because I think this is really cool. This is something that we just added. I don't know what anything costs, so if we do this, you know, let's say we can, let me get it out for something. Let's say you've got, you know, 5 things up top and 10 things down here in variable. If you say add projections, it's going to copy and paste over, and then you can say, hey, you know what? You mentioned your brother was going to let you move in with him and only charge you $300 in rent, and then you wouldn't need renter's insurance anymore. So let's just take that one completely out. And we talked your food bill, you know, we think we can reduce that to 300. And, you know, your cell phone, you can go get a track phone, it's $90, right? So you can show them side-by-side comparisons, right? Again, I know I don't have a ton of information in here, but think about once you've taken the time to do that, and then taking the time to show them, hey, if you change your spending habits, look at how your life will improve, right? Your debt to income goes from 11 to 5. Your net worth increases. Your monthly net dollars increase. Because it's always easy to say, well, the key to your money problems is to make more money, right? And that's not a reality for, you know, most people. Yeah, we'd all like to make more money, but, you know, a lot of times it's more just kind of really looking at the spending and saying, where can I cut back, tighten my belt, kind of thing. So use that if you want to. Use that if you don't want to. I guess don't. But another piece of this I want to show you, please also answer these questions if you can. This is just for us to see. They're never going to see any of this. This is from another this is from another program, but I think it kind of translates to this one. So please fill that out. And then there's an action plan. This is another place where we're taking it above and beyond just, okay, I've looked at your income and I've looked at your expenses, and I think you can spend less at the grocery store and stop smoking. Okay, great. You know, thanks for the help. But what you can do here is you can assign them, it's an action plan, but they see them as kind of tasks. And again, it's semantics. Obviously they don't have to do anything you're mentioning, but you could say, you know, wash the dogs at home instead of going wherever. And we're going to assign that to the applicant. We'll put a low priority on that. And we're going to say, hey, try to start doing that by the end of the month. And we click submit. You can create many of these. What you're giving them is kind of a roadmap to success. And what we're able to say to funders of this program, and you know, what you're able to say is, hey, we're not only showing them where they are financially, but I'm also giving them a roadmap to get in a better spot, you know, from a financial standpoint. You can create notes here if you like. These are just for you to see. Again, we make it very obvious when something is shared with the applicant. These are not shown or shared with the applicant. Below portion is never shown, shared with the applicant, right? But the reason I say that is if I do mark this as complete and save it, we're going to see that pops up on the counseling assessment tab. So here's Chris Latte's assessment that I did. And because I did it with him, you'll see it's been shared. So it's going to automatically share that with the applicant. But again, they're only going to see the numbers, the summary, and the action plan. They don't see your notes, and they don't see those kind of multiple choice questions that are on there. That's just data for us to have. If they've done one of these, because we do have a section that has a self-assessment in it, it's possible, like when you pull this up, they're going to be like, oh, I've already done one of these. You can be like, great, share it with me, because you'll also have, when they do that, you'll see self-assessment from Chris Latte. Then what you can do as the CFP is save yourself some time to say edit and save as new. And that will show you theirs. And you can say, all right, well, do you also have, you know, any money market funds? And they might go, oh yeah, I do. And you put them in there, or other, and they're like, well, so-and-so owes me $50. It's like, well, let's put that in, you know, he owes you $50. But what I'm saying is you cannot have to pull all these teeth out. You can have them kind of give you what they've done, where they think they're at. And then you can take them through and be like, well, you didn't think about this, this, and this though. Or you didn't take into account, because, you know, you said you're going to pay off your credit card, but right now you have the debt. So let's put it in. Right, just to see what that does to the numbers, kind of thing. And again, you can do the side by sides and see that. So I think this tool is really good. We are highly encouraging you to use it. But again, if you're able to get them to do like a dry run for you, it's gonna really cut into the amount of time you spend in your session doing that. Once you're done with the session and you're feeling good about it, here's kind of how you're going to close a file out. You're going to send this survey to app. We have one called Pre and Post Assistance Survey. I'm worried, anxious about my finances. I feel in control of my finances. Send this to them so they can fill it out a second time. We're going to try to get them to do it on the front end too. But Steve, I think you're the one that's actually pushing that first one. But this is helping us, right? And what we're looking for here is growth, right? Like when they come in, we hope, well, we don't hope, but you know, we're anticipating that I am worried about my finances, that's going to be an agree, right? But after you speak with them and you kind of show them, hey, you didn't think about this. This is where you're at. You're actually in a good place. If you could just cut down on some spending here, here, and here. When you send this to them a second time, we're hoping that they answer, yeah, I disagree with that statement now because I feel better. I had somebody explain it to me that I could understand. You know, and you can go through and read these, but these are very, these statements are all about, you know, how they're feeling. But again, that's able, you know, FFP can run analytics on that at the end of this program and say, yeah, here's how it broke down demographically. But look, when they came in, 80% of the people were really worried about their finances. They answered agree or strongly agree. After they met with our CFPs and had a session, they now backed that down. And now it's only, you know, went from 80% down to 20% because people are feeling better about it. So we're moving the needle, right? Action is happening. The other thing that you'll do is go to the checklist tab. And this is basically like, what did you talk to them about? So when we came in, we know he's looking for basic budgeting advice. But as you go through the session, yeah, I talked to him about that, but we also talked about retirement planning. And I talked to him a little bit about improving his credit score. And he mentioned that he had, you know, been a victim of predatory lending. So I also talked about, hey, here's how you can kind of dig your way out of that. Again, this becomes reportable data. And this is so FFP can say, all right, even though people were coming in and we only allow them to say, I'm interested in learning about one thing. And in this case, he picked basic budgeting advice. Everything on this checklist is in that dropdown. So if your session meanders into other territory, keep that in the back of your mind. And as you close your file out, let us know what all you did talk about, because this is, again, something that we can take to funders and say, you know, hey, a bunch of people basically just said, we're coming in here for basic budgeting advice, but look, we talked to them about this. We talked to this many about that. You know, we talked about improving credit scores with everybody, or, you know, whatever it was. So again, you're helping FFP kind of tell the story of what this program did, right? Beyond demographics. We counseled this many people, this many were male, this many were female, this many were of a certain ethnicity, this age group, right? We know that, and we want that data. But more importantly, we want to use technology to get, all right, what was the program though? Like, what did it really do? You know, and we can do that by you checking these boxes as you talk about them. Make sure you click the save button. I'm a victim of not doing that. That's why I put it in 2 places. Because if you scroll far enough down, some folks we have, you know, we have like 30 things listed here, and the save button is just at the top. So I got the save button in 2 places. Please don't forget to click the save button. And that's what you'll do in the checklist area. And then the last thing you'll do is come to status, and you'll change it to completed. Now, easy enough, right? If you have somebody that is non-responsive, if you have somebody that gets hostile on the phone, if you get somebody that, you know, says to you, you know what, I did enroll for that, but I don't really want to do it, that's fine. The way you let us know about that is you'll go to admin hold. Just change it to admin hold. And when you say, all right, I'm going to do this, you're going to say, okay, you indicated that you no longer want this. Okay. Pardon my typos. Yes, I'm going to move it. After you say, yes, this is why I'm moving it to the person, everything you type in that box is going to explain to them why. So I would say maybe don't put anything in there, but use this drop down to tell Steve and FFP why. Okay, hey, this person no longer wanted or needed the assistance. Click submit. What it does is it's going to move it to your closed files table. So we see that my active file table didn't have it. But when I click that closed files at the top there, there's Chris Latest, and I see he's on admin hold. Steve sees that as well. Rachel sees that as well. You don't have to email people and be like, I can't get a hold of this guy. Just put it on admin hold. All the notifications go out by the CAN. You don't have to let us know what's going on. You doing things, clicking things, saving things is what's going to inform you know, Steve and FFP about where you're at with that case. Now, if something really wonky happens, maybe you need to tag somebody in, but for the most part, you shouldn't be needing to reach out and let us know of anything you're doing. We're going to have visibility of it. I think that's it. I did want to show you a couple more things in here. If someone goes kind of dark on you and then they resurface, you can always bring them off of admin hold by just changing the status to something that is an active status. So I can just put it back to in counseling and click submit. And we see that we're back, you know, the little admin hold guy went away. And if I come back to my file management table, here's Chris Latest. There he is again, right back on my active files table. So as you complete these or put them in admin hold again, they're going to go to closed, and that's okay. That's where they need to be. But if you need to bring them from closed to active, that's how you do it. Just change it to an active status. Other stuff you can do here. Again, if somebody does kind of go dark and you're like, where did we leave off? You can go to recent activity and it's going to show you everything you did, everything FFP did. If they shared a document with you, you know, Chris Latest's little face would be here and it would say, Chris Latest completed a task, or Chris Latest, you know, shared a document with you, kind of thing. So you can we're going to keep track of what's going on, which is like a running activity log here. Another thing that you may choose to use, and I won't spend a ton of time going through it, is this messages area. You can use our internal messaging system. So if I want to send something to Chris, I can do that. This is not email. This is internal again. So, you know, if you're discussing specific stuff related to, I don't think you'd be discussing HIPAA stuff here, but you might be. You might be discussing kind of private financial stuff here you want to keep inside the CAN. Use our messaging system for that. You can do attachments and you can do all your different, you know, formatting and stuff here. But again, this is internal CAN messaging. This is not email. So I want to make that very clear. You would have to log in to see this message and respond to it. Another thing that you can do is you'll notice down here we have this little Canvo box. You're going to see the names. There's a lot of names in here because again, this is a test account attached to a lot of people. But you know, let's say I'm Erlene Green is somebody that is my client, right? That I'm trying to schedule something with. If she's online, you can bring up a little text box, type, send. She can chat back. This is like old school Skype. A lot of you probably remember that when Skype first came out. This is that. You can do type messages, but you'll see there's a little camera icon. So if I want to move this to video chat, if I were to click this, it would pop it up and we would be chatting with each other face to face. Our video chat, embedded video chat module can do everything that Zoom does except record. You cannot record. So if you're going to want to record these sessions for some reason, you're going to need to use your own Zoom for that or something else. But in terms of ours being, it's very clear, it's very real time. There's no lag. I'm actually really impressed by our video chat module. I was not expecting it to be as good as it is, because I know what we pay for. But it's really quite fantastic. So if you want to use that, go ahead and use it. Also, you'll see there's a little disk icon here. If I want to save my chat to the notes of this file, I click that and it will save it to the notes for that person. You probably won't need that, but I just want to show you that it is there. And then, of course, if you want to create tasks without doing one of those assessments, you can do that here. Just go to add task. Here's the one that we created during the assessment. Those are going to pop up here. So if you want to keep tabs on these folks and just, you know, you're not going to have second and third sessions with them. It's a one session program. But you might want to just pop in and see how's Chris doing. I really liked him. I want to know how he's doing on his tasks. Now, if he's diligent, you might see he has done them all and you'd be like, good for Chris. But again, that's just kind of for you. You'll also see you can schedule meetings here. We have a calendar function that goes along with our video chat module. It is very similar to Outlook, where, you know, I'm just going to give this a title. It's session 1. Chris Latest is already populated there. We're going to do it tomorrow at what time? We're going to do it tomorrow at 2:30. It's going to be an hour long, and I'm going to make it green because it's money related. I'm going to say session 1 with me. When you can say, you know, we're going to go over bank statement, credit card statement, and your 401k chart. Please try to have that event. You know, you can put whatever you want in here. When I save this, it's going to save this meeting here. This is going to show up on my calendar, and it's going to show up on my applicant's calendar. And all we have to do is click the meeting icon to get to it. And you can do that here or in your main calendar section. I'm going to encourage you, if you do think you're going to use this, to watch that tutorial is about 6.5 minutes. But it really will show you how to use this and whether or not, you know, you can still use this to schedule, even if you are not going to use our CAN meeting rooms. Maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't, but it says location if not using CAN meeting space. So if I put, you know, session 12 here, it's going to give me mumbo jumbo / session 12. Or if I'm not going to use that space, I can just say, you know, my Zoom link, and then you can put it in there, right? And that's what they would see in the invite instead of mumbo jumbo session -12 after the CAN Portal Demo stuff. So you can override that. You'll see this share availability button. It's, again, I won't take the time to show it to you, but in the in here and in the calendar section that you have, there's a spot for you to set your availability, just like you can in Calendarfly or one of these other ones, where Vite is another good one. But again, you're spending money on that, so don't pay for that. Use ours, where you can set your availability and say, I do these sessions on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in 1 hour increments. And then you can just say, share my availability, send it to the applicant. Hey, pick a time to meet, and then we'll both be there and send. And again, it's going to send him a hard email that says, you know, so-and-so has shared availability with you, log into your account to select. And they'll say, I want to meet, you know, Wednesday at 1 p.m. And then it'll pop up on both your calendars. You both get invites, similar to how any of those calendar services work. So we put that in here and embedded that. Use that if you like. Certainly not required to use that. I think that's it. Nope, I forgot one other thing. I keep talking about messages versus emails, right? So you're going to be getting a lot of system notifications that we don't think are like really email worthy. Assignment, certainly email worthy. You know, there's certain things that are going to go out as email notifications, whether you opt in or not. But if you want to just know anytime you get a new message via email, just check this box. It's going to be defaulted checked. Conversely, if you leave it checked and you feel like, wow, I get so many system emails, like I just need to know when I get somebody assigned. Great. Don't check that. The email notification for a new message is just simply going to say you have a new message. We don't push content for HIPAA compliance reasons, because we could have, you know, PTSD counselors doing you know, putting HIPAA related stuff in there. You might be putting financially related stuff in there that you're sending as a message, but it will simply just tell you you have a new message in your CAN inbox, log into your account to view it. And then from here, you know, you can you know, reply, forward, do whatever. But again, this is embedded CAN messaging, not email. So that is pretty much my spiel. Are there any questions, immediate questions over anything we looked at?
Hi, Kyle. I have a quick question. This is Mike Ippolito. I was looking at the calculators. If you have a request for a little bit more detailed analysis, like retirement projections, life insurance needs, things that might be addressed more with like an e-money or a Money Guide Pro, those types of, you know, more complex financial planning tools. We don't really have anything like that, right? I mean, what would you suggest for things like that?
I think that's probably a better question. Yeah, that's more related to the protocols, not so much CAN usage. Yes, we don't have all that stuff that e-money's got. And I know what that is a little bit. I'm just enough to be dangerous. But yeah, I don't think your sessions are going to get there. I think most of these folks are going to be very basic. I don't want to make it sound unimportant. I'm trying to find the right words here. I think these are going to be more basic people looking for budgeting advice, savings advice. You know, how do I plan for a wedding? I'm getting ready to retire from the military. You know, I want to make sure I have enough money, but I plan on working for another 20 to 25 years kind of thing. So I don't think it'll get there, but that might be a good one, Rachel, for y'all to take offline and think about.
Yeah, we can respond to that. So it's quite rare in the pro bono context that an advisor would use e-money, Money Guide Pro, but it does happen, and you know, that's fine if, so long as the employer and their policy is okay with using that for a pro bono client. And I should mention too, Orion is a partner of ours, and they do offer their software for free to pro bono advisors doing pro bono work. So just you know, in case you hadn't heard of that, that is something they make available.
I didn't know that. Thank you. Okay.
And one thing I always tell my counselors that work in various other programs is, hey, you're professionals. Obviously, you can refer the clients to whatever tool you feel is best necessary to meet their needs. I would just notate it in the notes, hey, refer this client to take a look at this particular program or whatever that you think works best for them. That way you're covering yourself in the long run.
Any other questions out there? All right, well, in the few minutes we have left, I did want to show you one other kind of neat trick here. If you're going to go on an extended vacation, or maybe you've got, you know, a big pile of work that got dumped on your desk, all of a sudden you're like, wow, I don't have capacity to accept any new clients right now from this pro bono thing, but that's going to be like a temporary situation. You'll see when I highlight Foundation for Financial Planning, I've got a status bubble here and it says green. If I click that status bubble, it'll say, do you want to change your status with this partner? I'm going to be like, yeah, because I've got a bunch of work to do and I'm going on vacation. And until July 10th, I don't want to get any new files. You can set that. And what that does is just put you on pause. Steve won't see you in his dropdown, so he won't accidentally assign you new files. But this will automatically then put you back green after the 10th, right? So on the 11th, or I guess on the morning of the 10th, it would. Now, if you're just going to manually reactivate, maybe you're like, I don't know when this project's going to be over, so I'll manually reactivate. You can certainly click that button as well. Just don't forget, because we won't assign any more cases until your green bubble or your red bubble goes back to green. If you want to be removed from the program entirely, certainly there's a link to do that. We don't want you to do that. But I will mention also, when you say you want to change your status for that partner, when I click OK or manually reactivate, it will say, if you have active files, it'll be like, all right, well, you got 2 active files. What do you want to do with them? Are you going to finish those, or do you want to send them back for reassignment? And you'll just make a choice. So if you're like, well, that guy's scheduled for tomorrow, I'll just finish him, and then I'll do the other one, you know, next week. Cool. Just say, nope, I'm going to finish those. Steve, you know, if you don't, they'll just go back to Steve. Steve gets a notification that says, hey, so-and-so kicked these files back. Please reassign them, and then he'll take that process. But I did want to show you, you can put yourself on pause if you need to. And I also want to show you real quick, this is a fictitious client account. So this is what your clients are going to see. Same place where you signed up for your CFP account on our homepage. You'll see when I go to apply, I'm going to go to the top one, applicant assistance. This is where you can create your own applicant account. And what they're going to see, actually, there's two places to do it. I should show you the other one because that came up earlier today. And Rachel, we were going to talk about that as well. I guess we can talk more about it tomorrow, but let me show you inside your account where you can also create yourself as a person. You'll see you have a section here that says add applicant /file. This allows you to enroll yourself in the program, but this isn't the program. This is going to, if you were to do this and say, all right, I want, you know, basic budgeting advice, you know, test, create account. It will send a welcome email to the email address that you've put in here. And that's why it has to be a different one. So, you know, use Gmail for one, Yahoo for another, or, you know, use your work account for the one and a personal for this one. And that will have it'll say, you know, so-and-so has created this account for you. Click here to set your password. When you do that, you'll be put into your account here. And this again is a fictitious account where you'll see they have different views of things. But the main thing they're going to have is this My Request section. And this is where they have the visibility into their own file. So what they're going to see is the progress bar. They're going to see who you are. They're going to see what they asked for. And then anything you've uploaded from a document standpoint and shared will be here. And any tasks that you've created will be here. And that's all they can see. And if you've uploaded images, but I can't imagine that would be a thing that you're doing here. So you'll see they have very limited view into their own file because you're the one doing all the work. Now, if they want to share something with you, they'd simply go to My Documents, like I mentioned, and there's, again, tutorials all over the place linked. Click here to learn more about the section, right? But let's say they go into their financial files where they've done one of those self-assessments, and here it is, and they want to share that with you. They click the share icon. They're going to choose your name from this dropdown. Your name will be one of two on this dropdown. The FFP main intake coordinator will be the other one, and they'll share it, and then you'll be able to see it on that document section. So they might ask you, like, I wanted to share that with you, but I don't know how to do it. You can explain. Go to your documents, upload it, click the share icon. I'll be there. There's a lot of financial tools here in this section. This is where they can easily get to a monthly budgeting tool. That's the assessment just kind of truncated down to income and expenses, so they can keep monthly budgets. A lot of people want a budget, but they aren't Excel wizards, right? So they don't know how to build the formulas and understand. This is very simple. It's exactly the same form. We've just taken out the property that you own and the different things, right? It's just income, liabilities, and expenses. So they can see month to month how they're doing. That big, long self-financial assessment is there. And then, of course, the financial calculators are there. And those will populate these tables, but they must share from the document section. They can't share from this table. There's some other neat stuff in here. You can see it. Credit reports. They can take a military America Saves pledge. Some role-playing games here for those that are college-bound or possibly transitioning out of the military. That's where those live. They have different sections for My Employment, My Education, My Health and Wellness. These sections are really good at nudging them in the right direction. So they might talk about, like, wow, you know, I feel like I have a good resume, but I just don't know how to get a civilian job, right? I'm a veteran, and I don't speak that language. Okay, great. Maybe you guide them here and say, hey, fill this out. And while you're there, you know, click here to make an open network request to an employment assistance and counseling organization where somebody can help you with that. Hey, help me write a resume that people can read that isn't filled with acronyms and military jargon that nobody knows what I'm talking about, right? They can reach out to other nonprofits and get additional assistance, because you might be getting counseling from you on their finances while getting resume writing help from, you know, Veterans Inc. in Springfield, Massachusetts. And they might also be getting, you know, adaptive housing built by their local Habitat affiliate. So they can ask for and receive as much assistance as they need to simultaneously through the CAN. We've got multiple partners on here doing a lot of great work. So if they mention to you, yeah, I really struggle with depression or something like that. Okay, hey, we've got therapy people providing, you know, so go seek that out. When they make these requests, we run a matching algorithm against their profile and the profiles of our organizations, and we try to give them like hot leads and say, hey, this person's out there, needs your help. So That's all kind of next level usage, but I don't want to get too into it. I just wanted to show you this, this section. And again, I'd encourage everybody to create yourself and, you know, role play both sides of it. I will tell you, you can't be logged into the same browser session into 2 different accounts. That's why I'm kind of flipping between them. So if you do want to role play with yourself and you don't want to log out, log in, log out, log in to kind of play both sides, you'll see I open an incognito window to do that. We do allow that. So you can open an incognito window and log in as your counselor. And then in your main one, maybe you're logged in as your applicant, and then you're toggling back and forth. You can also use separate browsers. So you use Safari for one and Chrome for another, or Firefox or whatever. So those of you that are going to do that, I'm assuming you could figure that out, but I did want to just mention it. So I think that's it. Right, Rachel, can we close it there?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I provided the link in the chat to sign up for folks that needed it. And I just wanted to reiterate that after you sign up, make sure you go to the browse opportunities section and click the apply button. Then you can click on FFP's program and you'll be linked to us, and I'll be able to verify you. And then you can start receiving clients. And then I wanted to thank all of you so much. Please, this is a pilot, so we'd love to hear any feedback that you have. Please reach out to me or Kyle if you have any questions. Your questions are really important because they enable us to document the answers for volunteers in the future and make improvements. And again, you, our volunteers, are the ones who make our pro bono programs successful, and I think you have the opportunity to make a real impact here.
Yeah, couldn't say that better myself, Rachel. Anything related to the protocols, please direct that to Rachel. Anything CAN usage, I threw my email address in the chat window there as well. It's simple, Kyle, Kyle, @canportal.org. Feel free to email me anytime with CAN usage questions. If you're like, hey, I got in here and I don't see where to, apply for this opportunity, or I was role playing with myself and I couldn't figure out how to share a document. Those are great questions for me. So please don't feel like you're bothering me. If you do go to the info ad or you go down to the support, I get those as well. So if you get a response from the support ad box, just know that's also me. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks everybody. And yeah, let's get out there and get it done.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.